Kinabalu, Sabah government will continue to defend state rights on petroleum revenue, including looking at other options pertaining to the state jurisdiction to collect additional revenue from oil and gas. Chief Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Shafie Apdal said the matter has been brought up to the federal level and Special Cabinet Committee to review the Malaysia Agreement 1963 MA63. He stressed that the steps needed to be implemented as Sabah needs more additional revenue to develop the state. Kuala Lumpur, the government will not compromise with the smoking ban in all restaurants, food outlets and hawker stalls as it involves public interest, says Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad. He said that the government directive to ban smoking at all eateries would stay despite the protests from restaurant operators and eatery owners who voiced dissatisfaction with the rules which will take effect in January. Smokers will have to find other places so that they can smoke as much as they want, as it is none of our business. Our business is to ensure that public eateries are safe, especially for children, the elderly, and pregnant women, as it will affect those around the smokers, he told the reporters at the Parliament lobby today. The civic subject, which was removed from school syllabus in November 2014, will be making a comeback in mid-2019 with a new look. Education Minister Masli Malik was quote said, "We don't have a specific subject on anti-corruption, so what we are going to do is to include it as one of the topics in the civic subject which we will introduce." Masli spoke to the reporters after opening the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC MOE Consensus Forum in Putrajaya yesterday. Transport Minister Anthony Loke announced yesterday, 13 November, that Sunway Bus Rapid Transit BRT fares will be reduced 20% from 1 December onwards. Under the new initiative, the fare for the furthest stop will only cost RM4.30. Previously, passengers would have to pay RM5.40 for the same distance. So the new fare is a reduction of RM1.10, 20%. The 20% discount will apply to passengers who pay for their fares using cash or cashless payment system. That's all for the national news. #Bulletin.
More than 80 people, mostly children, were kidnapped from a school in the city of Bamenda in western Cameroon early on Monday, government and military sources said. No one immediately claimed responsibility for the abduction in the English-speaking region where separatists are fighting to form a breakaway state. The separatists have imposed curfews and closed down schools as part of their protest against President Paul Biya's French-speaking government. In total, 81 people were kidnapped, including the principal. They were taken to the bush, a military source told Reuters. A government spokesman said it was keeping track of an event but that it could not comment further. The separatist movement gathered pace in 2017 after a government crackdown on peaceful demonstrations. Many people have fled Bamenda and other centers to seek refuge in more peaceful Francophone regions. Next, the first Franco-Chinese satellite was launched into orbit on Monday to study ocean surface winds and waves around the clock, better predict cyclones and improve scientists' understanding of climate change. A Long March 2 sea carrier rocket blasted off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China's Gobi Desert at 12:43 GMT to enter orbit 520 kilometers above the Earth, according to China's State Administrations of Science, Technology and Industry for National Defense. The 650-kilogram machine is the first satellite jointly built by China and France and will allow climate scientists to better understand interactions between oceans and the atmosphere. The satellite is fitted with 2 radars, the French-made SWIM, which will measure the direction and the wavelengths of waves, and China's CAT, which will analyze the force and direction of winds. The data will be collected and analyzed in both countries. Next, Alphabet Inc.'s Google said on Thursday it will make changes to how it handles sexual harassment claims, a week after thousands of employees around the world walked off their jobs to protest its response to such issues. Google Chief Executive Officer Sundar Pichai announced a detailed action plan which included making arbitration optional for individual sexual harassment and sexual assault claims. Going forward, we will provide more transparency on how we handle concerns, Pichai said in a note addressed to employees. Pichai also said Google will provide more details around sexual harassment investigations and outcomes, as well as improving processes used to handle such concerns, including the ability for its employees to support by a person. Google says employees will now be required to undergo sexual harassment training annually instead of every 2 years currently. Thank you.
Perak win dramatic, sometimes ugly Malaysia Cup final with two less gaps comebacks. Perak ended their 18-year wait to lift their 8th Malaysia Cup trophy after a pulsating final. The Selatan team edged Terengganu 4-1 in a penalty shootout after the match ended 3-3 extra time. Both teams were reduced to play with 10 men at the Shah Alam Stadium. Perak goalkeeper Muhammad Hafizul Hakim Hairi Nizam Joti was the hero for the Silver Star as he made two saves in penalty shootout game earlier. Terengganu had taken the lead through skipper Kipre Cheche Pesabris in first and 42 minutes. But Perak recovered, turning on the heat in the second half with a goal from Muhammad Firdaus Sayadi in the 46th minute. A scuffle broke out after Firdaus went in start-up challenge Zonjit, prompting the Serbian defender to push Firdaus in the back of the neck. The situation got worse with both set of players getting involved in the fracas, with some even throwing punches. With luck and perhaps the psychological momentum of two comebacks on their side, Perak went on to save victory, scoring 4-1 on penalties. Continue with badminton. Misbun saw with Iskandar for not consulting him on intention to leave BNN. Iskandar Zainuddin could not handle his emotion as he admitted he has let down national men's single head coach Datuk Misbun Siddiq. Iskandar, who announced his intention to leave the national team, broke down in tears when asked if he had consulted Misbun before making the biggest decision of his career. Misbun is unhappy that Iskandar had told BN President Datuk Seri Nur Zakaria of his intention to quit the national body instead of talking to him as he is the head coach. Iskandar, when met at the Academy Badminton Malaysia before, offered no explanation for his action. Next, with hockey, Malaysia to fight Japan for third place. Malaysia will be playing for the third placing after losing 1-3 in a penalty shootout to Pakistan in the Men Asian Champions Trophy Hockey Tournament in Muscat, Oman. It was heartbreak for Coach Roland Oman's men in the semi-final against Pakistan as they staged magnificent comeback from 3 goals down to draw 4-4 in regulation time at the Sultan Qaboos Sport Complex on Saturday.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. This week we are taking a look at two companies with link to ex-TPM Datuk Seri Zahid Hamidi, and when named in the charge brought against him. First is Datasonic, which was alleged to have paid Zahid to be able to secure a contract to supply IT chip from Malaysian passport. Second, MyEG, whereas Zahid as Home Minister was said to have received money from a third party to get a contract from MyEG. The question is it even nuts to touch two companies they have been tainted by scandal and whose share price have already suffered? Or is there actually something there worth looking at? The government seems to be going at war with smokers, so why not just ban smoking entirely? Is it the money? Is it the shame? Why is it hard to break up without daily cigarette? This week we are looking at manufacturing and in particular to saw some positive movement. First is the Green Technologies, which was one of the most actively traded stock this week, which begs the question what exactly is pushing it. First is the Green Technology, which was one of the most actively traded stop this week, which begs the question what exactly is pushing it. And another mover was Genentech, which saw some positive technical push even and another mover was Genentech, which saw the positive technical push even though it had a deal in India fall through a few weeks back. Thank you.
Now we will see what is trending and weather today with me, your favorite host, Jamie. Winter is coming. As temperature drop across the country, it's time to consider how to keep warm when you head out. Vogue France decide on the latter for supermodel and keeping up with the Kardashian star Kendall Jenner. Many of her fans waiting for the jacket, and me too. Story of the RMS Titanic has always fascinated you. Get ready for the next chapter in 2022. A replica of the unsinkable ship, which properly sank on its 1912 maiden voyage across the Atlantic, killing 1,503 people, now has a slay date 4 years from now. The project has long been underway. News first broke in 2012, and in 2016 more details emerged with a hopeful voyage for 2018. But it seems that initial projection has set sail, and memes that have broken the internet. Thank you. Falling into potholes, getting their handbags stolen, and even getting hit by moving car, but that not deterring others from trying out the Kiki challenge, the latest trend that has law enforcement agencies across the world tearing their hair out. Why? Because it involves people getting out of moving car and dancing alongside it. It's not the safest thing to do, but since when has that stopped people from trying out the zenith thing, as long as it helped them crack up a few thousand views and likes? Here, a look at some of the weakest and most viral trends and memes that have broken the internet. Thank you.
Trap money, penny. This shit got me in my feelings. Gotta be real with it.